All right, so for match recaps, we'll start with Man City, 2-0 against Leicester. Um, are Pep Guardiola's Man City back?
I'm gonna say no. I mean, I think their run of form that they were having, their downfall was a little like overstated. I don't think they were as bad as a lot of those results were saying, but they have a lot of problems still in the midfield and defense. That was really the biggest crux, I think, of the team. And this was a really good result. I mean, this was kind of a must-win game, I felt, and
Yeah,
they did get the result here. But it was against Leicester, who are probably like one of the worst teams in the Prem this year,
yeah, for
unfortunately.
sure.
And I'm not so sure. Like, I'm gonna need to see results against bigger teams for me to say that Man City are back.
Yeah. The highlights of the game: Savinho scored his first goal of the season, of course. He has been pretty good,
He
even though he
has,
hasn't scored. He has been one of their best players, in my opinion.
mm,
Absolute baller. Of course, Haaland scored. What is that? His like fourth goal in the past 12 games.
I think
It's not
so.
that
I think
good.
he's at 13 now or
Yeah,
14.
yeah. So Holland is back, I guess. One thing though, we did see glimpses of the old Holland from Dortmund, where his bag used to be the Elastico,
Mm-hmm.
um, dribble through entire defenses. There was that one play that we'll put it on the screen. He dribbled through half of the Leicester City back line, and he almost scored. If he scored that, that probably would have been one of the best goals of the
Yeah,
week. But
yeah.
do you think Holland's being held back in a way by Pep or this formation?
Maybe. I mean, Holland's the type of guy that he needs to be fed. He's not like a Harry Kane type striker who kind of drops back and creates himself.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think Holland is kind of just his form is going to be correlated with like the results of the team. Like if the team's doing well, he's going to do
yeah.
well. If they're not doing well, he's
I
not
do
going to do
feel
well.
like that. This game really did kind of bring back old memories of seeing old Holland, like at
Mm-hmm.
Dortmund, where yeah, he would single handedly take down entire
Yeah,
teams.
this
Like,
was this was his best game in a long time.
yeah, yeah, it just reminded me of like games that he played against like PSG when he completely dismantled them by himself.
Mm,
Sevilla when he dribbled through, he sliced them like a
yeah,
cheese. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I think I honestly I get what Pep's doing here. I get like why they use him in the way they do. He is
Mm,
still one of the best finishers in the league, of course. He scores at one of the most highest rates out of any striker.
mm.
But yeah, I do really like what I saw from Holland this week.
Yeah, I do as well. And the thing with Holland, even though he's been struggling this year, he's still at 14 goals. He's still 3 goals off Salah for the
Hmm.
Golden Boot. So
Yeah,
he's still Holland. He could still score like nobody else can. And even though he's been struggling, you knew he was going to get back in form at some point.
yeah.
So hopefully for him, this is the start of a new leaf.
Okay. What do you expect from Man City in this new year?
Well, looking at their upcoming fixtures, they got West Ham, Brentford, Ipswich, which none of those are particularly difficult. They should, I would say, get a minimum of 6 points from those three
Okay,
games.
yeah. They do also have that Champions League fixture at the end of
That
January, though.
that is huge for them against
PSG.
PSG. That's a big game for. That's a must win for really both those
Yeah,
teams because they're both fighting to even just make it to the next round. Which
yeah, for sure.
can't
Yeah,
believe we're saying that from at the start of the year, but
yeah,
um, yeah, I mean, Man City, we'll see. January, the transfer window is coming up. I expect them to be relatively active in that, especially since they didn't really make any signings other than Savinho over the summer. So, yeah, I do think Man City are. They're going to be better than how they've been at the start of the year. I think they'll probably still finish top four.
top
I think
four.
they'll probably finish fourth.
Yeah, they're currently sitting at sixth right now. They're behind
Mm,
Newcastle and Chelsea, of course.
hmm
Um, but yeah, do you see any like potential signings that they'll make?
uh,
What do they need? Like
they,
what
well, they really
positions?
need some help at CDM with Rodri gone.
Yeah, Gundogan's been very bad.
Yeah,
I
he's mega washed at this
yeah.
point. Um,
Their back line's also been torched. Kyle Walker's
mm,
dust at this
yeah,
point. Yeah,
I think the thing with Man City is a lot of their guys, their core players, are getting older, and you have seen a lot of regression. And then guys like KDB just can't stay healthy. Rodri's hurt right now.
yeah.
Grealish has been just I mean, he's just completely useless. It
He didn't
seems at
score at
times.
all in
So
2024.
yeah, it's rough for him.
Double O 365 at this
Yeah,
point. Yeah.
and then I mean they still have Holland though, who has struggled a little bit, but he's still Holland. Savinho has been good, even though he doesn't have the stats really to back it up.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy Doku's good.
Jimmy Doku is good.
Guardiola he's been
He's good.
struggling
He's
a
been
little bit this year, but
yeah.
I think he has the potential, and when he plays his best, he's arguably the best left back
Yeah.
in the world. So
Mm-hmm.
I still like this Man City team. I think they kind of just need it reminds me of Liverpool a couple of years ago, where I think they kind of need like a semi rebuild, just right the ship, and I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
So
Okay, let's move on. Liverpool 5-0. You're a Liverpool fan.
yeah,
What
yeah.
did you think about this?
I mean, this was a fantastic game here. Well, I think Liverpool have been, I think defensively been a little shaky
Yeah.
recently. They've been conceding a lot of goals they shouldn't have been. That was my biggest concern with them. But this was a dominant performance. It was never close, and I don't know. I don't think there's really too much to talk about here. It wasn't like a super competitive game, but I think after this game, going into the next year, I think it's fair to say that Liverpool are definitely the favorites to win the title. I think if they don't win it at this point, it would be a pretty big bottle job.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't really, because with Arsenal struggling and the injuries they've had, and Chelsea had been struggling the last few games, Man City fell off. Like I don't really see anyone keeping up with Liverpool. I think if Liverpool don't win the title at this point, it's going to be because they've just completely collapsed. So,
Mm-hmm. Did you see anything in this game? Perhaps Mo Salah. What did you like? Did you like what you
so
saw?
I did like what saw from Mo Salah. I think
Yeah,
he
it's the usual appearance.
so far, if we're given like a mid-season award, he's the Ballon d'Or winner
For
for this
sure, for
first half of the
sure.
season, and I hope he keeps it up.
Yeah,
He's been known to kind of fall off a little bit in the second half,
yeah,
although I guess the stats kind of say otherwise if you actually look at them. But
yeah,
um,
yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens to him. What do you think about his contract? Do you think he signs a new contract anytime soon? How long do you think will be the contract?
so I've so they have obviously they have Salah and VVD and Trent. I'm pretty confident that they'll Salah and Van Dijk will return. Um, Even though I know they offered Van Dijk a contract, he turned it down. He wanted more money.
Yeah.
I think Van Dijk, I'm probably like 99% confident is going to come back though. I don't see him leaving.
How long of a contract would you think that he would do?
I don't know. I mean,
Like,
Liverpool, they have a lot of the higher ups are kind of more like analytical guys, and I think that's kind of the problem with Salah and Van Dijk
he's
is they're older.
yeah,
The history says not to give
yeah,
guys past a certain age a new contract, so or at least a lengthy or expensive contract. So, but I mean, guys like Salah are anomalies, kind of
yeah.
like generational players. I feel like you can't let them go because I mean, look at how much impactful Salah has been for the Liverpool attack. If Salah wasn't there, like
I don't think they would be this
yeah,
high up.
yeah,
I also do think though he is 32.
he is 32. Yep.
I he would be asking for a lot of money, of course. Still, I do think Liverpool offers them maybe a 2-year
I think
contract.
2 years would be
I
perfect.
don't see a 4-year plan. Maybe just to. I would say that Liverpool should offer him like whatever he's asking for, like the big money, just
Hmm.
for 2 years.
Yep. Yep.
Short term, you'll get the results, and then when if he does start to decline, you'll be gone after 2 years. You can
Yeah.
get a
I think that would be an ideal contract, but
yeah,
it's tough to really talk about this kind of stuff because you don't know
yeah,
what the offers are, what the negotiations are.
hmm
Because Salah could be asking for like a 6-year deal or something,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I don't know. So
yeah.
it's hard to talk about that stuff, but I do think Salah and Van Dijk will both stay. And then the other big thing from this game was Trent. Obviously, he's been in the rumors a lot recently. There's been a lot of rumors that he already made a decision and is going to go to Madrid. Um, the celebration was interesting. I think that got a lot of attention.
Yeah.
So what do you, as a Madrid fan, what do you think about the Trent situation
I
right
am
now?
I am a Madrid fan, but the only thing is all those rumors and stuff that did come out
Mm,
about Trent were that they came from a Spanish media source. So there's been nothing out of England so far,
mm,
which makes me kind of skeptical.
yeah,
We'll just wait and see. The news that came out today, which Fabrizio Romano also reported, is that Liverpool rejected a bid
yeah,
for the January transfer window
yep,
that Real Madrid sent for Trent. So I do think if Madrid gets him, it'll be in the summer as a free agent.
yeah,
We'll just see. It's up to Trent at this point.
yeah.
Um,
I really could see it going either. I think it's 50-50 at
I
this point.
do. It does kind of make me sad to see Trent go from Liverpool, as it is his boyhood club.
Mhm.
Because yeah, he's from Liverpool. Like it's just like it's kind of heartbreaking to see.
Yeah,
But
but I also think with the run of form that Liverpool have been on, Trent said he one of the biggest factors is he doesn't want to be a player that only won when he was young. He wants to win trophies for the entirety of
mhm.
his career, which that would make you think he's going to Madrid. But I mean, Liverpool have just been unbelievable this year. They're top of the Prem, top of the Champions League. So I think if Liverpool win the Prem or the Champions League or both, I just don't see why he would leave. Like,
Yeah, I think it's just something that we'll have to see in the
yeah,
future. Yeah, I know Jude has been playing as like an agent, Jude Bellingham.
yeah, yep.
Kind of a goat in my opinion for that. But yeah, Real Madrid does really need that right back position. Carvajal, what 30,
hmm
over his 30s. We don't know how long he
Yeah,
has.
coming off major injuries too.
So Trent would be useful. He would be a good fit.
hmm
His precise long balls combined with Mbappe, Vinny,
Yeah,
Rodrigo's speed, it could be good. It could be good, but
yeah,
it's something that we'll see in the summer. We
yeah,
don't. We just don't know. Um, but yeah, what do you think about Liverpool's next fixture? Man United at Anfield.
yeah. So in theory, this should be an easy win,
Yeah,
but I don't know. Man United always kind of worries me a little bit. I feel like whenever we're projected to like beat Man United, I guess I mean we've had some big wins over them, but I
yeah,
think last year um, kind of scarred me a little bit. The way that they drew both the games in the league, they lost the FA Cup game, and they really should have won all three of those. Um, we'll see. I mean, Liverpool should win this game probably pretty easily, but it's
yeah.
always tough playing Man United.
We do have a pretty in-depth segment about Man United here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you'll hear about us from Man United, but yeah, Liverpool was we're safe to say they're in good hands with Arne
I
Slot.
think so. Okay.
They're in good hands. Yeah, let's move on to Chelsea. Surprising loss here. Ipswich
Yeah,
2-0 against Chelsea. What
yeah.
did you think?
Well, I did not expect this to be honest. I think Enzo Maresca was right when he said Chelsea's not in the title race because their performances the last couple weeks. I mean, granted they've overperformed expectations
Yeah,
this year for
for sure.
sure. I thought they'd be a Champions League team. I thought they'd finish fourth, maybe fifth, but they were in second, and I think this loss kind of knocked them down a little bit. But this is a bad loss. I mean, a team like Ipswich, these are the games that you have to win. Like you have to beat the bad teams. No
Yeah, for
disrespect to
sure, for
Ipswich.
sure.
That's how you win the league. That's how you perform well. So
hmm
to lose a game like this and really not even like it wasn't even like a good performance and they kind of got
No,
unlucky. It was
it
bad.
Chelsea. From what I saw from this game, they had what Ipswich credit all credit to Ipswich. They are
hmm
fighting hard to stay out of it. They
Yeah.
beat Spurs.
Yeah.
They beat Chelsea
Chelsea.
now. We'll see if they beat. I don't know who they're playing next week. Well, yeah, we'll see. But from this game, I did see they have Delap, a very promising striker,
hmm
very promising center forward.
hmm
Maresca did praise him. Maresca said that he does have the qualities to be a future England center forward.
hmm
Um, he and Omari Hutchinson both dismantled that Chelsea
Yeah.
backline.
Yep.
Axel Disasi needs to go. January transfer window, he needs to go.
Yeah.
That game was Chelsea's attack was okay in my
Yeah.
opinion. Their attack was good.
Mm.
Defense though, no,
No. Yeah. I still think
no.
that's the big thing that's holding this team back. They can get a couple more players for that back line. I really think they're going to be
Yeah,
top tier contenders. But
I
um,
yeah they've so far they've dropped points in their last three
yeah,
games.
yeah,
What is that? Everton draw 1-1
yeah.
and the loss to
Fulham
Fulham.
two late goals to lose that game. That was a game they really should have won. And then they lost away at Ipswich, another game they should have won. So
Yeah,
I think they're now behind Arsenal in the league standings. So yeah, I don't see. I think Chelsea probably finishes third this year, which is a really good finish for them, especially considering how they've been in the last few years. But This is a team that I think probably next year, maybe 2 years from now,
It's
is
very
probably going to win the
dangerous.
league or at
Yeah.
least challenge for the league. But I don't think
Yeah.
they're quite there yet.
For some reason, Maresca made some interesting changes. He took Nicholas Jackson out, which is he's been in a good run of form,
Yeah,
scoring.
one of the
yeah.
best players this year. For
Yeah,
sure.
one of the best finishers this year, of course. Yeah. I don't know why he got taken out for Nkunku, but that's interesting to see. They only brought him on after they went down 2-0, so I don't understand that. And then yeah, Disasi made a couple mistakes that he needs to go for. But yeah, I do like what I saw from Ipswich though. They're fighting hard to stay out of relegation. They're currently in 18th place.
Yeah,
so.
We'll see. I like Ipswich. I hope they stay up. I don't think they will, to be honest. But this was I think this was their first home win in like 20 years, which is kind of crazy. But
yeah, that's insane. And with this loss, Newcastle's catching up to Chelsea. They're only behind by 3 points, maybe.
Yeah,
and they're in fifth. Yeah, so
moving on to the Newcastle game then, 2-0 win over Man United.
We have a lot.
Do you think this was more of a good performance from Newcastle, or do you think this was just another horrendous performance from United?
From what I do have to say though, Newcastle did have a good performance. Alexander Isak on fire this year. In my opinion, he's been one of the best players behind Salah, of course. He's finishing everything, man. He's finishing everything. Sandro Tonali came back from his long gambling ban, of course. He played really well, in my opinion. Joe Linton's holding down that midfield. Their backline has been questionable, but they seem to have it under control.
Yeah.
The bigger thing here is what is going on with Man United. I just don't like what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, I don't know. I really thought Almiron was. I thought it was a really good hire for them. I thought they'd turn things around, or at least finish in the top half. I mean, geez, dude, this is it's legitimately rough, especially with Liverpool coming up next. Because if Man United drop a few more games like they have been, like they're seriously going to be in a relegation battle, which is just insane to think about. But I don't know. It's tough because Man United have been the biggest spenders of any team in the world the last decade.
Yeah.
And so, usually when it comes to stuff, you're like, oh, the owner just needs to spend more money. He needs to rebuild the team. But it's like they've done that multiple times since Ferguson left, and none of it has worked out. So I really don't know. I mean, I have no answers for this. I think you would talk about what's going on with Rashford right now and his exit with Man United, or because I don't really know what to talk about in terms of like the personnel with United.
Let's go about what we saw in this game. So far, this game was Man United's been a bad run of form ever since that City game when they won at the Etihad. This game I just didn't like what I saw at all. Starting off with Casemiro and Eriksen in the midfield, very slow. They allowed Newcastle to control the midfield, which if you let them control the midfield, Newcastle will run over you. The back line just did not look good. Was it Lisandro Martinez? He is a World Cup winner. He is a pretty good center back, but very poor this year. He just does not go for headers, does not do anything basically. He's getting cooked by Isak half the game.
Yeah.
I did not like what I saw from De Ligt either.
Yeah, he's been poor. He was poor for Bayern last year as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And then one of the biggest issues that came out of the game was Xerxes getting subbed off in the 33rd minute for Menu, which I guess Amorim did realize that his midfield was getting run over and he needed to bring on a faster player.
Yeah.
Kobe Manu is much faster than Eriksen and Casemiro were basically dust at this point.
I don't know why Manu wasn't starting in the first place.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me, but
Man United's rotten to the core. I just don't really like what I'm seeing overall here. I do think Amorim could, I guess, get more control of the team in this new year. I do see them selling a bunch of their players, though.
I think so
Rashford
too.
probably will be leaving. I don't know who will be able to buy him for that high a price.
Yeah, I think when I look at the Man United squad, I like Manu, I like Garnacho, I like Rasmus Højlund, and I like Onana as well. Those are really the only four players on that squad that I'm like, I would want to keep around, and the rest I think are expendable because it's just been unacceptably terrible from United these past few years.
Another addition would be Amad Diallo, a promising future prospect. He's been pretty good. One thing though is Garnacho. What's happened to him? He just does not seem
Yeah.
like last year. Everybody was talking. He and Manu were the future of this team. Future of this
Mm-hmm.
team.
Mm-hmm.
They have not been. Neither of them have been that great under Amarim, which in my opinion is bad managing. I guess.
Yeah, it's tough because those are young players, and adjusting to a new system like that during the season is got
Yeah.
to be really tough. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I still like Manu a lot,
I do too.
and Garnacho has been inconsistent. He's had his moments, but he's never been like consistently great. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see with him, but I do like his potential a lot.
I just don't really know. Yeah, 4 losses straight coming to Anfield this weekend.
Yeah, I think that should be 5 then.
Yeah, I don't know. You think they'll bounce back at all?
I don't think they'll get relegated. I'll say that. But I don't think they're going to finish in a European spot.
Yeah.
Which this would be. They made a European spot because they won the FA Cup last year, but they didn't actually finish in one. So this would be back-to-back years not in a European spot, which is for a club as big as Man United and a club that spends as much as Man United. That's unacceptable,
Yeah,
even
for
in the
sure.
Prem. So yeah, I really don't know. They're going to have to make some big changes. But I feel like we could go on talking about Man United for hours, so I think
That
we should
that
probably move on.
that club is
Yeah,
that club is finished.
yeah,
Going on. Nottingham Forest 2-0 win at Everton. What did you? This surprising team. They're in
yeah.
second place right now.
It seems like someone's doing like a career mode save with Nottingham Forest
Yeah.
right now because I'll be honest, I thought they'd be one of the top contenders to go down this year. I really didn't like them going into this year,
Uh huh.
but they have been phenomenal and um, yeah, I mean Chris Wood has been probably the maybe not most surprising player, or at least I think kind of the most underrated player this season. I mean,
Yeah.
he's been really, really good for them on the counter attack. Do you think they'll be able to keep up these expectations, or do you think they'll fall back down to earth?
I think like there isn't as much pressure on them
Mm,
as like there would be for like top 4 clubs, like like top 6
mm,
clubs. So even if they do go down a little bit, I still think they'd be happy. Like the organization
yeah,
is happy where they are right now. I do like Nuno Santos as a
yeah,
manager. He
yeah,
came on and just did his thing. Yeah, 9-4. I really do like 9-4 as a club in general. To think that this club, what, 4 years ago was in relegation in the
yeah,
championship.
yeah,
Um, yeah, this is good. I do like what I'm seeing, but even if they do fall this year and this next year, I still like Nottingham Forest. I still really do like them. Um, Props to what they've done. I do hope they do finish in the Champions League spot.
yeah. It would
I
be
really would like to see them there.
insane if they did. I don't think they will. I think they'll finish probably in the like 6 to 8 range, which would still be a really good
Yeah,
season for them. But yeah,
yeah,
they've been phenomenal so far.
they've been enjoying their spot in the second place. Yeah, 5 wins in a row, so it's
Mm.
crazy. Yeah, we're moving on now to the bottle jobs. Arsenal. What do you think?
So I still like Arsenal. I think they're a great team. I think they've had some unlucky results this year, but the Saka injury, he is the most valuable player on that team,
Yep.
and I don't know. I mean, they used him into the ground. They really don't have like a solid replacement for him. So I don't think Arsenal are really title challengers anymore. I think they'll
No.
finish top 4 still. I think they've been doing very well in the Champions League. I think they're in the top 5 there.
Yeah.
So I think if I was Arsenal, I'd probably focus on that. They're in the Carabao Cup semifinal. That's a trophy. I mean, they haven't won a trophy in the Arteta era. I think they won the FA Cup actually in
Yeah.
2020. But
Mickey Mouse.
besides
Mickey
that,
Mouse.
yeah, they haven't won really anything of significance. So I think if Arsenal could win the Carabao Cup this year, I'd
That's,
say that's a pretty good season.
yeah.
But um, I don't know. What do you think of Arteta ball in general? I know a lot of people aren't a fan of it. Think it's bad for the game, but
It's. I mean, they're scoring off of it at least. Like,
mm,
I guess like it is still a part of the game. I guess like corners and
yeah,
stuff. Like what they
yeah,
are doing is pretty insane.
mm,
But still, I would like to see more open play goals.
mm,
Um, but I still do think Arsenal finishes top 4.
yeah,
I think they are like they have pretty good squad depth. They should be
yeah.
able to. I is curious to see if they do sign anyone in January as like a number 9.
I think they probably will.
Gabriel Jesus has come back into form as of late. I
Mhm.
guess he has been playing pretty well. I don't know how much longer that'll go for, but Arsenal, I think, is solid. They're solid.
They
They're
are.
just there.
Yeah, I think they'll probably finish second if I had to
Mm.
predict from
Second would be
now.
good.
Um, but I do think they'll probably finish significantly behind Liverpool. I don't think they're going to be
No.
title challengers like they were the last couple of years.
Yeah. I don't know. Honestly, I do like Arsenal, but it's fine. They're gonna finish top four. I
Mm.
think it is what it is. Moving on to one of the more entertaining games in this match week: Aston Villa, Brighton 2-2.
Yeah, yep. Um, I really like both these teams. These are like the two um, teams I enjoy watching the most besides Liverpool. Just the way they play and kind of the players and personnel that they have.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, this was a great game.
I really do like Aston Villa. They have had defensive problems
Mm,
here and there. Ollie Watkins also been in and out. John
yeah,
Duran came on for a
yeah,
couple weeks, scored some bangers,
yep,
and then dipped. But the one player I do really like, Morgan Rogers.
yeah, yep.
Promising young player, and the biggest thing I like about him is his physicality. I love his physicality. He's really good. He's also very skillful. I really do like him.
Yeah, that's
Um,
like a surprising player too, because you wouldn't have really expected him to be this good so early. But um, yeah, he's
yeah,
definitely a really good player for their future.
yeah, I do like Aston Villa. He will develop pretty well under Unai Emery. It's perfect, basically perfect conditions for him to develop. But yeah, do you like Brighton?
I really
Brighton's
like
been pretty
Brighton.
good.
I like their new manager, Fabian Hoyser, and I like what he's done so far with them. Brighton, they've been good for the last few years. Last year was kind of a little bit of a fall off compared to a couple years ago, but I do think they're back in form and they'll finish top half. I could see them getting like the Conference League spot maybe. Um, but yeah, I really like both these teams. So I don't know. This was probably the best game I think in terms of like competitiveness from this week.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, both teams they played pretty well. I do think Brighton was the better team in this game. They played overall better ball in this game, but yeah,
Mm.
I really did like this game. Moving on to the Spurs. 2-0 loss or 2-2 draw, 2-2 draw.
Yeah, it feels like a loss though for
Yeah,
Tottenham because they've been just so
horrendous. Yeah.
inconsistent recently. They've had great results, obviously against like Man City, but um, I don't know what to think of this team. Like
Mm-mm.
this team should be a lot better than they've been
Yeah,
performing.
they are the high. They going into that match week, they were the highest scoring team in the entire league, which is
Mm,
crazy. But defensively, no. Um,
yeah,
we did go over in our wanker of the week moment, that Spurs
yeah,
moment that you guys
yeah.
saw. I don't know.
I mean, that just perfectly sums up
Yeah,
their season.
that's
I think when I look at Tottenham, I actually really liked a lot of the signings they made during the offseason. But I think in hindsight, they really could have used some more veteran players, I
mhm,
think, especially
yeah.
in defense. I mean, their defense is atrocious. And they have a lot of young players who could develop into great players in the future, but they're not necessarily good players now. Um, but I just don't like the team build. I don't really like what I've seen from Tottenham. I kind of question, maybe this is a hot take, but do you think Ainge, if these results continue, do you think he's on the hot seat?
I Big Ange, man. I think he will be on the hot seat.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like at this point, yeah.
Like if Tottenham finished like 10th this year,
Ooh,
I think there'll be a lot of questions when it comes to him because yeah, they had a really good start to last season, but they kind of fell off at the end, didn't
mhm.
make the Champions League. Now they spent all this money in investment. They were supposed to be at the very least a top 6 team and
Yeah,
they're probably not going to finish there this year. So,
yeah. I mean, no one is expecting them to win a trophy, of
I
course.
mean
I mean,
they
it's Tottenham,
yeah.
but I was seeing that they would finish top six. This is interesting to see.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know about Tottenham at this point. Like, I think the club is also just kind of just become a banter club at this point.
I don't really know. I think they still have the Carabao Cup. They're in the semi. They
Mhm.
play Liverpool in the semifinal. Probably not going to win that, but
No.
who knows? Um,
Yeah. I guess like their biggest moment of the season was being Man City, or they beat Man City twice this
twice,
season.
but I
Yeah.
mean that doesn't look as impressive now looking
No,
back on
no.
it. So
I mean, they did get it started though. At least the Man
yeah,
City
true,
downfall started with Tottenham.
true.
Yeah.
Speaking of teams that beat Man City, I want to talk about the Bournemouth game where they drew 2-2 against Fulham.
Okay. Honestly, I do really like what I saw. That game was also one of the more entertaining games, I guess, high scoring games. Let's talk about Jedi Robinson. Both of us from the U.S.
Yeah,
We love him.
yeah, best left back in the Prem for sure right now.
What is he at? 7 assists right now. Seven
Mm-hmm,
assists.
mm-hmm.
Most by any fullback right now, which is insane.
Yeah,
Insane. I really do like him. I do really rate him. I One of the problems though, I did see Man United trying to get him in the
yeah.
January window.
Hopefully not.
Please, no,
Yeah,
please. Man United's been linked with so many players, but yeah, don't take Jedi Robinson from us, man.
yeah,
He deserves better club.
yeah. I think so too. I do think this is probably his last year at Fulham,
Yeah,
just with the results he's been having. I think he is good enough to be moving on to a bigger club. No disrespect to Fulham. I actually
no,
really like them.
I like Fulham too. Fulham's also been pretty
They
decent
have
this
been
year.
good. They have
Yeah,
been good. Both and Bournemouth too. They're both in the
Bournemouth
top
also.
half.
Yeah, both of
So
them have been pretty good. Yeah. What did you think about Bournemouth here? Did you like what you saw?
I really like Bournemouth. Their manager is phenomenal, and they have some pretty solid. They don't have necessarily